Okay, Janine, we're ready when you are.
Okay, 1 second. Okay,
Hi, everybody. Welcome and greetings. This is the Arlington Health Kitchen Land Use Committee meeting for September 2025. We have a hybrid policy that can be found on our website. Board members are expected to attend meetings in person unless they have a disability and or extraordinary circumstance. Excused members and members of the public will be able to participate virtually. Members who are joining via Zoom must leave their cameras on. This meeting is being streamed live on our YouTube channel and a transcript is being recorded. I'm Paul Devlin, co-chair with John Danielle. We have 2 items on the agenda tonight. I'd like to suggest we flip the order because we're not quite ready for item 1 just at this moment, but soon we will be. Item number 2 is a discussion of statement of district needs and budget requests, which are public member and former district manager and budget knowledge extraordinaire. Bob Bundy is going to take charge of.
And Paul, just to let Janine know that this takes us down.
And Janine, there's going to be a presentation coming to you. Item 1, the Portal West 50th Street. Maya is sending it over now.
okay, I'll look out for it.
All right, and then we'll want to use those slides when we get that discussion. Right? Do we need to do?
Okay,
you want-
I can share it if, or you, or Maya can share it if she has it.
Let's wait. Maya's in the room, so we probably better if you share, but let's just do the budget discussion anyway.
Okay.
I guess.
Introductions.
Do we want to do member introductions?
I was gonna say.
Okay, let's do member introductions. Paul Devlin.
John Danielle. Kevin Collins. Ted Arenas.
Leslie Lugosi Murphy.
George Tuchet, member.
Rachel Lee member.
Chance McDonald, member.
Oh,
No.
Josh,
We can go to the audience.
sorry.
Brian, member, public member. Bob and public member.
And then we have some other get it. This is the room.
Oh,
Dash.
Dashel.
From where?
From West 42nd Street.
Thank you.
Patrick O'Neill, visitor, myself here.
Terrific, thanks. Is that music coming from that other room?
It's coming from outside. It's close. There might be a window. Okay.
Oh, thanks. All right, appreciate that. All right. Introduction done.
All right.
All right, go.
Plaza.
Bob.
Budget. So the city passed its budget for the end of June this year, late because of the election, there was an election in June. That starts the budget process for the next fiscal year, which will be 27. We're in fiscal year 26 right now. So it'll be 27, and the first step on doing the city budget is they go local to the local administrative body, which is the community board. And the community board, all the different committees meet and come up with recommendations on what they feel should be budget requests, and they put together a statement of district needs too. That was all sent to us in the email from Janine. And so really, the first 2 items you saw in the email that the board sent was the request we put in last year. Capital request and the expense request and what happens in this. So for the capital, there was a talk about repairs for Fulton, Elliott, Chelsea houses. I think that's moved on now into the whole rigmarole.
That came from this committee?
And from this committee.
We combined all.
I think it was combined because
Oh,
Land use requests, and so it would have been combined with Chelsea land use.
yes, and you
Okay.
have Harbor.
I mean,
You have the one up in the 50s. The
Harbor.
the Harvard one as well, yeah.
Okay, so they merged the 3 together. My guess is the way this thing is done now, it's changed since when I did, it's easier for Jesse just to merge them together and to differentiate them. And the agency said they cannot accommodate the request.
Except for the past 2.5 years, there was plenty.
That's what the response was. So the question is, do you want to keep it in? It was our number 1 priority. Number 2 priority was the elevators at Harborview Terrace that were malfunctioning or broken. And again, they could not accommodate the request. And resubmit, they say, at another time, so they would want to do that. And the third one again was Harborview prioritized funding for the following items: roof repair, boiler upgrade, new building entrance, and emergency exit doors. And again, and the agency supports and can accommodate this request, but I don't know if it's, we're checking to see what status it's in.
So,
We don't know.
so
first I'd recommend that we pull out Chelsea Niger, because that's obviously going a different track.
Yeah,
And
instead of
then the city budget, not the issue anymore. And that. In the one where they say they can accommodate those repairs, we see if it's actually happening, as suggested to do that, and if that's the case, put it under continuing support.
Talking about our.
Yeah, called the Harbor View repairs, not, right, and then we just then include Harbor View. The development, which is both the development renovation and the building of the additional affordable housing building committed as part of Hudson Yards. We put that as our access request.
What about the elevators and Harbor?
Oh, that's the third one, sorry.
That was this.
that was the one, they couldn't accommodate that request for the. They
So I would
accommodated
move the
all the
elevators
others.
up to the top, because that's the next thing that Harbor View really needs. Second, the Harbor View development, both renovation and the new building. And then after Jesse confirms that the other items are definitely in the budget, we put them under continuing support and take them out of our priority list.
So question on this, so on the Chelsea ones.
Mhm.
Right, we've asked for work to be done. It hasn't been done. It's been moved over into what do they call it, the bridge program or
No, they're not doing there's no more capital budget funds being expended.
nothing at all for a full.
The bridge repairs are being funded by related.
Right, but since they're not being done, is this an opportunity for us to reinsert these issues into that dialogue and make sure that.
No, because there's no. Nigel
You understand?
is not doing any capital expenditures in LA and Chelsea. Because there's a whole plan that's in the middle of being,
Right, but again, I'm saying but it's so much.
no, but the point of it is,
Can you hit the green button on the right?
Just to be clear, because we're talking about apples and apples.
Yes.
On the website. There is a report, monthly report of bridge funds.
yes,
I was saying that any areas are being done at Chelsea.
the bridge plan has nothing, the bridge plan is an apple. This capital budget money is an orange. They're not connected, they're not being used at all.
One for cities, one's for
The city, the capital budget funding through NYCHA
Right.
is not being expended. Bigger question is, you got Jesse do some investigation. There has been an allocation by our council member, as there has been over multiple years, for multiple capital improvements. And that is no longer being used in this project. The prior version of it was.
Yeah.
And we should ask this to be investigated, and then if needed, if that is, let's reprogram it.
But the point I was making was,
Okay, that's
That's not for Chelsea NYCHA, for something else.
repairs may be being done, it's not like no repairs being done, they be done, but they're being paid for.
NYCHA is doing repairs on their ticket system,
Mhm.
and Related is doing repairs on their bridge, the home system. This is not about repairs, these are capital improvements that the board supported. Allocation of capital funds to do major capital improvements. None of which are happening because the structure has changed entirely. But I think we've uncovered a different issue. Let's find out, Paul, or what is the amount that has been allocated? It's multiple fiscal years, it's not one fiscal
Right,
year.
yeah.
Because I it's happening every year, like tranche. And if that's not gonna be used in Chelsea NYCHA, where else could it be used for housing purpose in Chelsea?
That where else can it be, but I'm still kind of struggling with the idea of if there was a capital improvement to be made.
And they're not making it.
But they're not making it, right? But then let's
Shouldn't we
say,
ask for it?
this continues to fall apart, or they don't move forward in 5 more
They have
years.
alternate means and methods, and they are doing major work either through the demolition and reconstruction. Or through the increased income from the Section 8 vouchers, which you know there's now 500 vouchers coming in. And that's all about, that's how they're proceeding, they're not proceeding in the way that we thought they were going to, which is take a chunk of capital money. That was coming from the city and putting it into the plan. We have seen nothing whatsoever. I've seen the sources and uses multiple times. The capital money is not in the Chelsea Township plan.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I just expressing concern that the capital money is not being used. There's a new plan in place to do it. And that also is not happening. So we wanted to make a statement about this needs to be done,
Okay,
however it's funded. You know what I'm saying?
Paul, the project has been entirely reconceived.
I understand.
It is not necessarily, this needs to be done in the capital. the city of New York is not expending capital funds at Chelsea and Hardship, because they have come up with a different plan, which we don't necessarily agree with. But, you know,
No, that's the thing, if we don't necessarily agree with it, and we're looking at alternatives. And is this an opportunity for us to push that angle in a different way, is what I'm thinking. I'm not saying, I'm asking the question legitimately, I'm wondering if there is
I
a tool here.
I don't think there is any ability to get the city of New York to put any capital funds in whatsoever. So the thing of it is, I believe here's the questions they ask. Are these member item funds? I believe many of them are member items going back to court. Now,
So where are those funds?
well, they're there, that budget, and then where could they go? Because the issue is, they shouldn't just be sitting out there doing nothing if there's an entirely different structure for a plan. And
Are we used for something?
our council members have allocated those funds year after year, and they get rolled over and the work doesn't get done.
Okay. Welcome, Aaron,
Thank
board
you.
member.
Sorry, I'm having a week of public transportation.
Right, you're on time. So to recap, Joe, what you.
Recommend that number one.
The elevators?
Yeah, no, first Jesse investigates that the items that NYCHA agreed to for Harbor View.
That's number one.
No,
Number one is the elevators.
the items that they agreed to, that Jesse investigates that they are happening.
See if they have.
And then we move them
If
from
they
number
all
one to
make
continuing
continuing
support.
support.
Then we move the elevators to
To
number one, then for
The
number,
roof and the other repairs at Harbor.
And then we'll move Chelsea.
the roof and other repairs, they said they're. Sorry, I apologize. We saw, did you read back the one that they said they were gonna do?
We asked them to do roof repair, boiler upgrade, new building entrance and emergency exit doors, and retiling of the building's common areas. So the agency supports and can accommodate this request.
So therefore, we're gonna move that to continuing support.
Yeah. Provided it had.
Right, provided it happened or it's about to happen. So then number one would be the elevators.
That's right.
Right, and then number two. Would be the Harbor View project, which was under Hudson Yards. This committee went through this, a whole new 250 units or something, plus the renovation of Harbor View, right? Those are tied together. And then we probably, Paul, I said, let's do the investigation with Jesse as to what is. We need to get, we actually have a meeting with NYCHA private, but like a response on the status of these budget monies. And Bob, did you find out what fiscal years they put into? Because that's something that could tell us too. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe like 500,000 here and there, you know, we just don't know. And then we get a confirmation and we say, oh, if they make, this board should make a recommendation. That money shouldn't just disappear.
Right.
It's from the council members, you know, allocation.
Yeah, should go somewhere in this one.
Right.
Bob, you got time.
Thank you for catching that, Bob. That's one of those moments of like, that's millions of that should. Or something, I'll just take it.
Sanford, welcome. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Sanford, member of the committee.
There was,
Okay, that's it for capital. So there is.
All right, can I just pause that for 1 second? So the two phases of this, we're discussing it tonight. It'll come through our next meeting for final clarification, and then go to the executive committee board structure that will present all this to the final full board for a vote. So if there are other items that you think of that you want to add on to our capital needs requests by next meeting, we have that opportunity to do that. So perhaps if people know of things where, for example, we just discovered potentially might have millions of dollars of capital funds that are allocated that we haven't spent. Think about if there are places where you think those millions of capital dollars should be spent and have that ready for next month's meeting.
So I have a question for you. We have consistently asked for getting a tag on the DB system for demolition restriction.
I think that's an
That's
expense,
expense.
actually.
Is that expense?
Yeah.
That's an expense, that's not a capital. And I expect that's something. Sorry, thanks, Bob.
We have it to expand and allocate existing funding to hire officers in order to increase regular foot patrols. What is that?
That's not us.
That's.
I don't know what I think about.
No, it might be inspections, we had some.
No, it's NYPD.
DOB inspections though.
Should we do-
It should have been an NYPD thing.
We have claims examiners.
We had examiners and things like that. And go
I
ahead.
technology, but.
Yes, I don't know how I printed out this one, it's not been.
Do you have it in front of you?
This one?
Do you have yours?
Well, it's number 16 on expenses, Department of Housing and Preservation Development, increase HPD funding scope of emergency repair to ensure.
That's under housing.
Are we talking about the flag?
Yeah.
Demolition that's under.
Yeah, we should be looking at the stuff from this committee, the flagging of the.
Yeah, we haven't.
Go ahead.
For some reason, the thing just, I mean,
Something
wasn't.
all right, read the current list then.
That's what I'm going for. Can you increase the font?
Sorry, can you increase the font for both of us or both of you?
Almost. This current 59 was.
Is that mitigate DOB building information system?
Yeah, the first one is expand code enforcement. The Department of Buildings staffing to focus on the following points of concern. 1, provide 1 to 2 dedicated inspectors for special district enforcement to ensure compliance of land use regulations in the special districts. 2, with the passage of the several substantial city yes proposals, there will be an increased need for additional inspectors. MCB4 believes the current staffing levels of the agency are insufficient to meet the eventual increased demand of service and requests, audits, and plan examinations. Said that agency supports and can accommodate, remove requests.
Oh, so they're adding, well,
And OMB said they also support the agency's position.
that is shocking.
both of them now? For both, well,
Both that you just read.
yeah, for both.
Does it, but,
It's on.
and they said yes about zoning and special district, I find that shocking.
They agreed to fund that, how about that, all right?
But let's
confirm that.
Let's confirm, because I know for a fact,
That's confirmed.
DOB has hired more cleanse examiners, more code enforcement inspectors. Because the problem is the folks they've hired have no knowledge, that's our. Maybe we wanna ask for training or something, because. That's the problem.
Next one.
That's progressive training as well. They're great. So,
All right. The next one. Other expense budget request for DOB, expand funding for staff to expedite, this is when you was on about technology upgrades for Department of Buildings website and application process to allow a demolition restriction district square to be filled as a yes or no. This will prevent improper demolition by flagging and notifying the building owner and directly the agency with an improper demolition permit has been requested for residential multiple times. Agency supports and can accommodate remove request. But OMB said further study of this request is needed.
Okay. Honest, because
I will.
so in research for the second item, we have 2 systems going now, everyone's aware, we have DOB Biz and DOB Now. So the second item coming to us is on DOB Now. There is no checkbox for demolition restriction. It's not, I looked at it today carefully, I tried to find anything like that, so I think we need to write back to them. Or have Jesse engage with the OMB, say, first of all, no more study needed, and what's the, like. The big barrier was the biz system was so old, they said they could not make changes, it was impossible, it was creaky, it was cumbersome. But now we have a brand new system that is so much more friendly, looks like today, when you look on something. And they have all kinds of checkboxes,
And that ain't one.
and that's not one of them.
Let's move.
It says it's gonna be forwarded to the team. We just.
But but now we want timing, right? I would not give this one up, this is. Every,
No. Okay, there's a checkbox for special districts.
there's always been a special checkbox for special districts,
But now, then,
but not for demo restriction.
shouldn't be too hard to create.
Well, it was when they were writing code from like 1985.
Nowadays.
Yeah.
All right, the other one is reduce case backlog, this is for the Preservation Committee. Including Saint Benedict Lamore Church. Bayview former prison, and the new dramatist Inc. 424 West 44th Street by increasing funding for additional LPC staff in order to expedite recommendations for landmarking. The agency does not support but can address the need alternatively, remove request. The agency, it's a long thing, in sense it's overall it's saying that we have enough staff and we can do what we want to do in accordance with the agency's priorities,
Meaning,
meaning they don't want to do
they
it.
don't want to do it. Like always, I say we put it back,
Put it back.
but I would remove Bayview because now Bayview is free preserved and alternate means than land.
Move there. Next one, provide for inspectors to investigate structural stability of landmark buildings and buildings in historic districts before alteration, construction or redevelopment, and report to LPC, community board, and other agencies. Agency does not support and cannot accommodate, remove request. Explanation, please contact the agency directly for more information. OMB says further study is needed.
That was the Chelsea line, I just wanted.
I think that's true.
It's just like, so.
They're gonna,
We'll let them.
they're gonna put it back. And the last one, provide funding to mitigate DOB building information system over the DOB's new online system. Got DOB now. Agency supports and can accommodate remove request. The agency will discuss any DOB now budgetary needs of OMB. OMB says at present they cannot determine position on the request,
Okay.
so we'll have to check in to see if that happened.
So let me sort of correct another request on this. Can we make a request that they also migrate all the information from DOB Biz to DOB Now? So it's, you go to one platform to see everything. I mean, I just, like, how you're using these two things, like, you never know where it's landing.
Migrate DOB.
Migrate historic data.
That's what it is.
That's what that is, right?
Migrate DOB build biz, their own business.
Oh, there's here.
Over the DOB's new DOB now system.
Oh, yes, that's already, that's true.
And they said, yes. But OMB said, we can't.
There's no funding.
That's what Omni said.
Yes, so that means let's make very difficult for the
Not-
user. But I just ask again and then.
So that's the agency actually agreeing with you, and OMB saying no.
So what's the first one about, DOB biz?
Yeah, the biz system, building information system.
Okay.
That's the original one.
That was the original one. I never could figure it out, but Nelly was an expert in it.
I'm speedy in that, but the problem is it's in two places.
So they had an old system now, but they didn't migrate.
Nope.
Okay.
They kept all the information and it's so complicated because you don't go to look, where's the files?
I do have a question about putting that in our community's request. But something that's needed citywide, if they do it as part of our budget request from our budget funding.
It's not our budget.
Citywide. Oh, this is for okay, thank you.
This is basically
It's
us making request, and because it affects us so much.
Yes, yes.
Look at
Well,
it
it's
up.
city, but it's citywide.
Okay,
The capital is this district.
right, that's
But
what
the
I,
expenses, the
Okay.
highest city.
that makes sense now.
That's it. Anyone can think of anything else before the next meeting?
And it will remind folks, there is time to put more in, you circulate before the meeting, that's also in the clock and framework. And also, we try to limit ourselves to requests that this body has addressed in the past, right? So we are dealing with like demolition by neglect, and so we're asking for issues to tag DOB.
That's right.
So it's a, think about issues we've talked about in the past year, or 2 years, or 10 years.
How to do the city funding better
So
to.
how can we better allocate city funding to address our concerns in this community? All right. Take a vote on that. I don't think we need a vote,
I think you need a vote
because
on
the
that.
vote comes next month,
In
and
October.
it's finalized, we submit it.
Is there still a budget transfer?
Yes,
There's
it's
another test.
gonna go to the task force next month.
Yes, for some minutes, that.
Right. And then it'll come to full board. So there's some time. But I'm glad we got the ball rolling today, and there are any additions, so next month. It might be a faster conversation and a quick vote. Should be, all right. Any other questions on statement of district needs? We'll move on to the next item, and for this, it's, we got word of an issue at 405 West 50th Street, and another demolition from 404 West 50th Street. Joe is taking the lead on this with assistance of Maya, and I think this is slideshow.
Did you have a presentation, Janine?
Launch.
Yeah, do you need the images first, or do you need the zoning information?
let's go with the zoning information first.
Okay.
And while we're waiting for this, we'll just go back to it. Is there anything, can you think of anything that we want to add? You guys, CHGC had done that great program of, the housing stock that's coming and going based on demolition, non-demolition, and we got a great study on all of that. Is there anything we want to do with that study?
Yeah.
Where we can get some funding?
I actually spoke to JD about it just this week. And there were some comments, we went back and looked to change some of the formatting on the presentation.
Yeah,
And so JD and Maya are gonna meet and talk about that. And then that should bring it to conclusion.
but to think about if there's some way that we could use some city funding to help with the issues that are raised in that.
I think, let's talk about that in October. Phil.
Yeah, but like, I want to plant that seed now, let's think about it, there's some things.
So just to refresh everybody's memory, when the presentation happened with the mapping, there were some questions like, this should be in red or green, or it's unclear, it's the shading and stuff, and that got lost. So Maya's here now, and she and JD are gonna manage to go over those notes of how to make it present better, that's all. And then, as soon as that's done, it can be part of the board's website.
But yeah, again, I want to go the next step of that.
Gotcha.
And then take that and
Right.
use it somehow and do it, because we know we're not gonna get funding in the first cycle, so let's start.
So what I'm saying is, why don't we send that out to the boards, this committee,
Yeah,
after they do their discussion prior to the next meeting? And that'll be a springboard for something.
do that presentation and think about what city funds the role we allocate to take steps to address our concerns raised in this presentation. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so, this first image here, you need to, page down, Janine. Okay. It's really small. Okay, dwelling unit, keep going. Keep page down again. Okay, so, this is 404 60th Street. This is actually, Janine, could you just do a quick Google search, you get an image or not? Do you have an image of the building in your presentation? Okay, yeah, could you do a quick Google Maps for 404 West 50th Street? I'm see what we're looking at.
Oh, it's the open placements to elderly, right?
Yeah. I think that's a start point of reference, and it's coming up. There we go. Just double click on the image and it'll open larger. Yep. And then just pull the image down so we can see the whole building. It's the one with the fire escapes.
With the fancy fire escapes or the unfancy?
Right there. So this is a very standard 4-story tenement in-house kitchen. It has 3 residential floors, a ground floor, that's commercial, and it might have some apartments on the back. When you look at it, this reads as, this has apartments in it, period. So no one would ever think this is a building as a candidate for demolition. So now let's go back to the other, the filing. On DOB now, it states that this building has 2 apartments, right? Well, that's odd.
Got more than 2 apartments.
It's got more than 2 apartments, right? So I was concerned when I first looked at this, because I knew that in the special district zoning for Hudson Yards, West Chelsea, and Garment Center, that has the demolition restriction. The terminology is you cannot demolish a multiple dwelling. And a multiple dwelling is three or more apartments. I looked at this and said, oh my God, they figured out a loophole, it's got 2, whatever the hell it might be. Well, it turns out that's not the case, because the zoning language is different in Clinton Special. We go to that, Maya, where's she at?
Did you click the zoning resolution? Next to the top.
Yeah, the 96, yeah, that's it. 9610-105 is the, see, this is right from the zoning text, right? For a special district, that's about demolition of buildings. And I had forgotten that when we negotiated in 2009 to extend the demolition restriction to those 3 other districts, the city wanted to change this, and the board fought back and said, no, don't change the language. Because in Clinton Special, it doesn't say multiple dwelling, it says for a building containing dwelling units. Meaning if you have 1 apartment or 2 apartments, you can't demolish the building. So the discussion in the last 2 days, as I tried to prepare for this, was, oh, here's what it is, they're trying to do this, that they had a loophole. It turns out they have no loophole. This is something simple. This is DOB making a mistake.
Sure.
Yes,
Just to set the stage in case people don't know what we're talking about, West 50th Street, there was, we all know that applicant was putting in an order to DOB to demolish the building.
both to demolish and to build a new building. And if you go, and DOB now shows one application for demolition and the other one for a new building of A-stars. So we look at this and say, how is this happening? Well, number one, do you have the image, the iCard there too?
Yeah, could you open the attachment that I sent you? Thank you.
Sure.
So the part always we have to understand in our neighborhood is that most buildings were built before the requirement for a certificate of occupancy. Because they're built in the 1880s, 1800s. This building is probably built in 1870, right? So how do you find numbers of units when there's no C of O? This building does not have a C of O. So I went to what are called the iCards, which page down, right? A page down.
Let me
This is hard to read for the reason. They're called, no, go back to your size, otherwise you won't be able to see it.
Yeah, your other perspective.
Yeah, so get ready for this, guys. These are called the iCards because these were called index cards. These are annual
Can you
inspections.
repeat that word, please?
Index cards by the Tenement House Commission, who is required to inspect all buildings. And they walked around with a card and they made notes on it on how many apartments, how many, and you'll notice here, this one says sinks and halls, which means that there were 2 apartments a floor and your sink was not inside, it was in the hallway, for example. So page down a little more. Right.
No water closets. Water closets.
Yeah, water closets. Now, look at the layout there, right? That layout clearly shows 2 apartments per floor, right? Kitchen, K, bedroom, railroad, and then parlor, not living room, parlor, right? And then somewhere in there, there would be a sink and a little niche in the hallway. Because when this building was built, as I will say in neighborhood lingo, the toilets in the yard, they were not inside yet. Right? But the most important thing here is look very carefully. Nellie, can you make this bigger? It's a tough one. We're trying to see the upper right-hand corner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, total apartments.
3.
Huh?
Yes.
Total apartment 7.
7.
Apartment floor.
Oh, it has.
Yeah, see, total apartments, 7, right? So,
Now it's at 9.
so that normally means there's 3, I thought, oh, when you do development in New York City, if there's no C of O, they'll proof the Department of Buildings, how many apartments were there. You go to these iCards. These have been digitized and put on the HPD online website. You gotta go find them.
Well, that's what it looks like, 1 in the back and 2 on each of the 3 floors.
Exactly,
Exactly what it looks like.
right. So, but it is frequent that the Department of Buildings records are incomplete or wrong. So they have 2 apartments. Well, it doesn't even matter because the zoning says dwelling units. So this becomes less of a thing of an owner trying to get around some regulation. And Department of Buildings made a mistake. And they said that they will accept a demolition application for building that has residential units. And the whole point of the special zoning district in Clinton was to get buildings renovated, brought back to life, whatever it is. Now, if they can prove that those apartments were eliminated at some point, that's okay, but they're still on the current records too. So our work has become much easier. I did all this research in some nefarious plot. It was just somebody, it was a plans examiner not being trained to know that you cannot demolish a building with dwelling units. So I would also suggest, Paul, at our next October meeting, maybe we ask for funding for training for DOB plans examiners. By special zoning districts, because it's the kind of thing that, it shows up in YIMBY, it shows up in this thing, the cranes, and it's all not permitted. And everyone gets all into building more apartments here, when in fact, they certainly can. They can renovate this building, they can put an addition on, whatever, but they can't demolish it.
So Joe, what was the date on this index card? Was it?
1903?
Was it 1903 or 2000?
Oh, no, that's 1903. No, I looked at it, I was trying to figure the date.
It was like something 226 at a very.
But
Yes, 03.
So the issue is that we have over the years and comes up in our budget statement of distribution, I'm glad we had this discussion first, is to say, you know, the Department of Buildings is issuing, they're getting applications that are separated and then they're approving each without cross-checking them against each other, without cross-checking against the zoning regulations. This is a fight that we've had many times before. And so the recommendation I would like to make is that we issue an administrative letter saying, do not grant this permit for demolition.
Based upon these
because
facts.
all the other things that we have said every other month, year, and decade in the past. So.
And include all this documentation to say, here's what it is, it was granted in error, it was accepted in error, because it's just not in. But I think do it administrative, and then I would say bring it to the full board in October, so it has the weight of the board. Because all of our, well, demo letters have that, you know, a full board. I spoke to this earlier today, felt that was okay, you can send it out right away, and just.
Yeah, that was the thing, is I wanna make sure it goes out quickly, and I didn't wanna have to wait for the full board for this to go out, because I don't want.
Because they can issue a permit.
I don't want these permits issued, and then while we're waiting for our process to tick out. So I was gonna urge that we do an administrative letter, I don't know, we can.
No,
It wouldn't be a ratification.
No, I propose administrative letter, but then take that and also have it sent to the full board for adoption. You know,
So do an administrative letter now and then do an action letter.
yes,
Okay.
but you know,
Yeah,
it was a bizarre, I mean, I read like 7, I thought that was like 3, it's hard to read these things.
It is, isn't it?
Well, someone wrote it, it's 100 and shit.
But you can.
22 years ago.
It's 1222.
Right.
So.
So Joe, who made this decision? Was it?
A application's filed, it goes to a plans examiner at Department of Buildings. A plans examiner, they've hired more people, they don't have training or background. And they also are missing it, and let's put this in a letter, a key tool, a checkbox for demolition restriction. Which would have helped anybody new to know, to check for that.
So why did they assume the building could be demolished?
Because the EOB now says it's 2 units.
No, and even so, you can't even demolish
You know
it.
the zone.
Yeah.
So what were they removing? What were they
A
removing?
plans examiner doesn't have knowledge and background about what the zoning requires.
So why did they assume two?
Because the website said
The
to.
website says 2, was somewhere lost in the mist of history. Someone keyed in the number 2.
Kristen, you had a question?
So that needs to be corrected
Also,
in the letter.
So-
Says 7.
I just, hold on, please.
Okay, now I have 2 questions. Now-
Raise your hand.
Okay, so, one question is actually what you said, somewhere in between the history, is it possible that something happened in the building?
Oh,
that
yes,
There
no.
are now 2 units?
or no, sorry, here's.
Not that it matters,
Right,
but
yeah,
in
no,
the
you're
law.
correct, you're correct. So here's the thing. On DOB bid, not now.
Yeah.
It lists all the old applications,
Mhm.
doesn't take it for.
Oh, great.
It has all the filings in this building since 1902. It doesn't tell you what they're for.
Do they have
What?
filings and they just aren't digitized?
Oh, they're not digitized. for all.
Anytime you do construction, though, it has to be ADA accessible, so maybe they're letting demolish it, we can construction.
No.
Space doesn't allow ADA elevator.
No, you're not required to do ADA accessibility for walkout.
I have a question, a second question. So if we're doing an administrative letter saying no demolition because of X, Y, Z, then what's the future of this building?
Renovation and addition.
They could
Okay.
technically add 4 more levels on.
Yeah,
But didn't you say the second application submitted was for a new building?
yes, it's for, one application is to demolish
Demolition
and
and then
then build a whole,
right,
right.
okay.
So this does not, no demolition does not freeze development of the
Yeah,
site.
they're doing this because it's cheaper just to demolish something and build up
Yes.
versus doing it.
And they want to do a pretty, I mean, if you go to the, Jeannie, go back to the photo again for a second, of the block, because you'll see next to it. And that,
The Google map.
the Google map, and this happened because that was like a.
The reason for the question is, obviously, you know, it can be fixed up,
Yeah.
but is there interest, I guess, someone willing to do that? Is there interest out there? Like, we don't know that.
Somebody bought this building in order to develop here.
Yeah, but why is it in the condition that it is?
That's not a reason.
Oh, no, there's also a stop work order for work without permits and creating structural problems, all kinds of stuff. There's so in 2023, they did work without permits. I get to go repair this.
Scroll on that picture a little bit to show the height of the building image on the left.
Yeah, just sort of,
It goes up to.
Just scroll on that image a little bit.
like, just like dip it down so you can see the top of the building on the left.
Just drag.
Yeah, they are.
The building on the left is the building that oversees Boxer's rooftop, the new Boxer's rooftop.
No, this is,
And then have like, you can see.
the new box.
The new Boxer's rooftop, you can raise another rooftop, you can see the same, it's the same.
I mean, would structural issues be a determination to rebuild from scratch?
Every building, if it is structurally unsound, then owner has to prove it, and then let's say if they seek demolition, they can get a special permit to do it.
Yeah,
That is 343 West 47th Street, they went through the whole process with. But I can say to you right now, looking at this and the number of buildings we've had like this is a building that could be gut renovated, that could be added to, and you would put money into it. The difference is you will not knock it down and you try again to pull.
Yeah, you're trying to just tilt up on you.
Yeah, try to tilt up. Right, but I can't see the line.
Yeah.
There you go, right, I keep going like that, see, so that's what, so if I want to do that, it is just simply easier for me, get rid of the old thing and do that very quick. Right, it doesn't mean that you can't take this building 100% put new structure in it, because we have buildings all over the neighborhood that have new structure inside that have been added to.
And there are people living there right now.
Well, that's the other problem, I think there are. Because there are curtains in the window, there's curtains and blinds, it looks like, I looked at. We also need to know, where's the certificate of no harassment?
Right.
I haven't seen that, have you? I haven't gotten to see that notice, we get them all the time, usually ask that. It is subject to CONH.
There's only a sink in the hallway and now someone's living.
No, there's a thing in the hallway in 1903.
There was also no toilet in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got toilets.
I think they have a toilet.
So I just wanted to,
Just Brian, go ahead.
just specific to this, and this is more of a, just so I understand. In 1903, there were 7 units in the.
Yes, there were 2 per floor in the
No, I
land.
understand that, so. In the subsequent years, it's possible that units were combined and stuff.
They could have been combined, they could have been, I would guarantee you the ground floor one probably got eliminated for the commercial space, all that kind of stuff happened.
But it's still,
That was the
but-
module before for you.
no, I understand that, I completely understand how one could jerry it. What if today there are actually only 2 units in that building?
It doesn't-
Then it doesn't.
It's not material because it's a building containing dwelling units.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the owner has to prove that the other units were just removed.
But there's no notifications that it doesn't have foundation issues, because you can look
No.
outside and say, oh, it's great. You get in the basement and you realize. oh,
No, the owner, I looked at the DOB biz file, they began to do work on the first and second floor. And they got stopped for structural problems and they were directed to repair it, nothing in the foundation at all.
So I would like to entertain a motion to send an admin letter. And essentially the repeat letter as an action item from this committee to the full board. Saying that DOB should not issue a demolition permit for this. Because it violates everything we've talked about, and make sure that we also include in their language about our constant demand for checkbox for demolition restrictions on the DOB website. And question why there has not been issued a certificate of no harassment.
And they should revoke the acceptance of it, they should revoke the application. That's the phrase, as opposed to current.
So it's an admin letter and
And then we take the same letter and do it as a
Right.
full board letter, so it's properly.
There'll be 2 letters, right, an admin letter and then a full board letter.
And hopefully if we act, and then this one, it's not gonna be the same as the other 14 that we dealt with.
Can we ask for a determination on how the DOB came to that decision based on it, just in
Second.
case there's something else that we don't know, just by looking at the
Yes.
building?
I gotta tell you, it's up to them. My answer is, it's up to them to respond, and I think just by us putting this out there, they will do an audit on this and get back to us.
I think it's helpful to say in the letter, similar to how we're asking for a checklist. Because of all the gap in information, I feel very uncomfortable making judgment calls on this building right now. So maybe asking for an investigation or study or whatever, asking for the audit.
I think they should order the plan exam to understand how this was,
Sure.
that's what I'm praising is this audit, they do
The
it.
DOB is so far behind when you look on the website, sometimes they take a long time to upgrade and put things into that.
Oh my God, and stuff, yeah.
So
So-
can I make a recommendation on that then, Ted? Can we do the admin letter, just cease and desist, so to speak, and then in the full board letter, request the audit, because I don't want them to get.
Oh, I see.
Do the audit, and then by then the permit has been issued, you know what I mean, the timing of it, I think is really important that we say, don't issue this, revoke the application. But then in our full board letter, we say, we need to understand why this needs to happen.
But what if they already made the decision based on things and they push the permit forward?
There is no permit.
There's no permit right
Not
now.
even
That's why today I wanna get this letter out.
It's not,
That's what's the admin versus full board, the timing.
Okay.
So would you agree that we put the language in there about the audit? Because I don't want them to get a letter saying, we want you to audit this, then they say, okay, we'll do the audit, and they start the audit, and in the meantime, the permit gets issued. Is that,
well,
I just think there might be reasons that they allowed it to go through and.
you are being so Christian.
You know, I just don't like to make decisions on things that we don't have a full picture just by looking at a website and a picture on Google Maps. I would
I'm
rather
not looking at
find
a
out-
picture on Google Maps, I'm looking at the iCards, which say how many units are there in that. Without a C of O, there's only one source. you can use.
one thing we didn't look at here is the actual applications themselves, so we know there are applications in. Asking for this demolition and asking for this reconstruction, so we're not, you're right, we haven't seen what we're actually asking.
Did they make a determination to approve it or not, or no?
No, it's fine.
That's why we
Okay.
don't want them. to
Alright,
say-
I was under the idea that they might have.
They didn't.
There might
so-
be a way to address that and what you're saying in terms of the timing concern, right? So maybe we say, based on the zoning text, which says blah, blah, blah,
course.
this is the
Zoning
basis of.
text. And based upon your actual DOB now number of units.
Right, so,
Right.
right,
Here's
based on
your
the current information that we know, this is our recommendation or however you wanna phrase it. But then in terms of kind of longer term.
Right.
Concerns, we should lay it all out in the.
Because we do wanna ask, like, we want to avoid this in the future. What is your internal process? I would throw a sentence in there in a longer letter about the training for the
Yeah.
class examiners, because we should not even be talking about this.
Right, so the admin letter is gonna be, there isn't, so to address you raised a good point. There is an application pending for a demolition of a building. Based on, and we suspect it's moving through the system because you say there's 2 dwelling units, which is below the minimum dwelling unit criteria.
No, it's not.
But
It's not.
we in the zoning, in our zoning, it is any dwelling units, it's just plain dwelling.
Right, so it's not in the system, in the special zoning district, it's any dwelling.
No, I understand, but that's what I'm saying, Jim. In their system, they're not recognized in the special district, and they're not recognized in this different language in there that says, doesn't count the number of dwelling units. Usually, it's 3 or more. They looked at this form, it shows 2, but in the special Clinton district, there is no number of dwelling units in that regulation, it's just dwelling units.
So we have one more thing to throw in, and that for any demolition, they have to go through a special permit. That's the process. I mean, look, we know this on 47th Street, right?
I think that's thorough.
Yeah. We did have that commissioner, actually tell us in a meeting, they made a mistake on 35th Street, which was, like, knock us
I
off.
mean, I think if they really made a mistake, that would be great, this thing gets withdrawn.
Right.
Then in our full board letter, we say, look, we need more training, we need audits of these things, we need, there's a whole lot of other steps that need to be involved, so this doesn't happen yet again.
Yep.
All right, so
Do
the
you
2
think we'll
letters.
hear back before the full board?
Pardon me?
Do you think we'll hear back from before the full board?
No,
I think we could ask Justin to call.
Jesse has a district cabinet service, this service cabinet this week or next week.
Yeah.
And the agenda is, so I think it's on the agenda, ready? We'll be given this information.
all right,
And the special thanks to Katie Savage, who's not here, who saw this in some blog, some
And
magazine.
track me down like white and rice.
Called a number of us about this stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have known.
Okay, can I bring up another building that's on?
No.
So I'm-
no, I entertain a motion, we made the motion, there hasn't been a motion seconded. So we need the motion first,
I make a motion.
Joe, seconded by Ted,
All in favor?
all in favor?
All opposed?
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Any present? No. Okay. All right,
So,
that's the end of the agendas.
so another item which came up on Jesse's district service cabinet, another building, 425 West 44th, St. Joseph's Home. And that building is an old model tenement, West 44. On Jesse's, district service cabinet agenda, it says, status of construction permit for alternate certificate of occupancy. I don't know what that means, I did some research on the building. I know that the ladies, sorry, they were ladies, trust me,
Okay.
they're older ladies, they came here,
ladies.
I know, but I mean, they were like,
It's saying ladies.
but they were like the Irish ladies, these kind of, like, they were like really, They've been there. They were all Hell's Kitchen ladies, okay? They came either to housing or to this committee with a series of complaints. I think, was it housing? Does that sound right, JD?
Yeah, yes, I remember.
It was housing there, that the nuns were evicting them. I mean, this is what.
I'm in the building.
Remember
What's going on there?
That's the point. I don't know what that means. Jesse, Jenny, could you put up 425 West 44th?
It's not like church.
Well, it's a model.
It's like an old complex.
St. Joseph's residence.
Yeah, no, but it was built with a model tenement and then became a residence for single women. It says about status of structure permit, I'm concerned for it, it's a special district thing again, that we don't know about.
He's not great.
So,
Bottom line is, more
so yeah, so
Yeah, because it looks like it's in fine shape.
the building is in excellent shape, there's photos from the inside, that there are reviews, there's pictures of bedrooms, but I do know all of the women were evicted or relocated out. So don't know what it is, don't know what the issue is, but just wanted to bring it to the committee's attention, because Jesse put it on his district service cabinet. This might be another one of those alteration, demolitions, harassment things that our committee would actually deal with. I mean, it's a fine.
Maybe they're making single rooms into apartments and they could be converted, we just don't know.
We have no information. I looked on DOB now, Paul, there's no filings.
Were the ladies a
Mhm.
part of St. Joseph's Home, which is a short-term residence for women who are working in New York City and are attending schools?
Yeah, many of them there for about 25 years.
Oh.
So this building, and then there's two other buildings on West 45th Street that are now having conversations. The one that, the protests have been in front of the Fort, West 430. And there's two buildings adjacent to one another, they have a big banner outside that says.
Oh, no, that's-
Investors, and then there's.
No, the buildings on 45th Street are the, Brian, help me, what's the name of the slumlord along 410, 412, West 46th Street?
Oh,
Paul,
on 46th Street.
the 410, 412, that the house committee doubled over and over. The owner went to jail.
He owns buildings on 45th.
He owns the two buildings on 45th Street,
He
correct?
also owns the building with Gelatoville and stuff, that owner.
That owner.
But there's two of them, the point being that we know that I'm saying, I'm raising this.
Oh, Shalom.
I'm raising this because we are having meetings on 420 West 45th Street. To talk about some projects there, which may or may not come to the October meeting. And we also have had pre-meetings, follow-up meetings with the development at DeWitt Clinton. Those two towers where they're transferring development rights in Hudson River Park onto the sites. And that application is likely to come before us in October as well. So I just want to give you a heads
So
up.
I can just say, having worked with Eric Fox, our council member, he has been working with the 45th Street buildings. to Try to come up with some kind of solution, but Oaksham, first of all, being in jail, but then his family or friends dealing with it are not very forthcoming as to what they're. There's been a lot of marketing buildings that no one wants to be into it.
So we have a couple of fun topics in our October meeting.
Sure.
Prepare yourselves. All right.
Those have some of the highest number of violations for small buildings in the city of New York, those ones at 45th. They have hundreds of businesses.
But that one is a different one than the 420, which is the old District 37 Labor Council office building, which is now vacant. I think, well, at least the Labor Council has moved out. There are people there, I see people there all the time, but I don't know what they're doing. But that building.
We're getting briefed tomorrow on a redevelopment.
We're getting briefed on new development there, so we'll find out more about that. Anything else that people want to raise?
Just as a matter of form, going back to that letter. If the concern is the city is gonna be slow on responding. And having dealt with this before. Is it appropriate to copy the applicants, the listed owner on the letter?
Yes, and we also copy everyone of our elected officials because they're very familiar with these. Demo letters, they keep that in, that's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
Yep, done. Thanks, Kevin. Anything else? I'll say a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Fiscal.
Sounds that.
Thanks, everybody.
Never happened here.
7:30.
Which is way too long.
Thank you, Janine. That was just the weirdest thing.
All right, thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. So, like,
How long?